A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Modified by your friends. Any character resemblance to real people is entirely coincidental. Stave 1. Keegan Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. Old Keegan was dead as a doornail. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Sam Scrooge and he were partners in Durf Nugget's DDD gaming for I don't know how many years. Sam Scrooge was his sole mourner. And even Sam Scrooge was not so dreadfully cut up by the sad event. But he sold a video game contract on the very day of the funeral. Scrooge never bothered to paint out old Keegan Marley's name above the office door. Oh, but Sam Scrooge was a tight-fisted old miser. The cold within him made him fair and freckled with eyes red, and tight mouth on his bristled chin, and he limped. He iced his office and cared not a bit for Christmas. He preferred his surroundings to be as cold as his heart. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. Once upon a time of all good days of the year, on Christmas Eve, old Sam Scrooge sat busy in his office, counting his cold, hard cash. It was just 3 o'clock, but already dark. The door to Sam Scrooge's office was open so that he could keep his eye upon his clerk, who was tinkering with a piece of software. Sam Scrooge had his thermostat set at 10 degrees, but his clerk, Rob Cratchit, had a smoldering trash can beside him with but a few wisps of paper to give him heat. But he couldn't replenish it, for Scrooge kept the recycling box in his own office. Rob Cratchit would put on his fluffy onesie and try to warm himself over the smoldering trash can.
A Merry Christmas, Uncle. Turn off your computer, Sam. It's Christmas.
Cried the cheerful voice of Scrooge's niece, Megan.
Bah! Humbuggy! Durf Nugget!
Cried Scrooge.
Christmas a humbuggy Durf Nugget, Uncle. Sam, enough. I know you don't mean that.
I do. What reason have you to be merry? You're poor enough. Your house is half taken apart. It's in shambles.
Uncle, what right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be morose? You're rich enough, and my house is being renovated. It's not in shambles.
Scrooge, having no better answer on the spur of the moment, said,
Humbuggy!
Again, and followed it up with,
Durf Nugget.
Don't be cross, Uncle,
said the niece.
What else can I be, when I live in such a world of idiots? Out upon Merry Christmas. Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be microwaved with his own cheese and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle!
Pleaded niece Megan.
Niece?
Replied Sam Scrooge sternly.
Keep Christmas in...
Is this Scrooge and Marley's? Have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley?
Said the orange and pink one.
Keegan Marley has been dead these past 7 years. He died 7 years ago, this very night, in an extreme pool noodle accident.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sure whatever happened was Keegan's fault. That little nerd turd was never careful enough. I've heard.
Said the unicorn frock lady. She handed him a card that read, Gwyneth Moyer and Elizabeth Mercer, certified fluffy animal activists.
At this festive season, it is desirable to make provisions for the poor fluffy animals in this dog-eat-dog world, such as my companion Peppermint here, my most loving hedgehog.
Elizabeth held up the wriggling hedgehog.
So, are there no prisons for the little fluffers?
Asked Sam Scrooge.
Prisons, you turd! What's wrong with you?
Gwyneth screamed.
And the union workhouses?
Asked Sam.
Cannot the little beasts get themselves a job?
Beasts!
bellowed Elizabeth.
They are not beasts. You're so pooey. I'm telling your niece Megan. She gave lots of money. By the way, I love your jammies.
She said, winking at Rob Cratchit.
What about the pound and the animal meat market? Are they still in full vigor?
With this, Gwyneth and Elizabeth huffed and puffed their way out the door, with Wally scampering close behind. Scrooge turned to Rob Cratchit.
You will want all day tomorrow, I suppose,
said Sam. If it's convenient, sir, squealed Rob in fear. He tugged on his bunny ear for comfort.
It's not. But come back all the earlier on the 26th.
Rob promised that he would, and Scrooge left the office.
Blubber nugget.
Scrooge lived in chambers that once belonged to Keegan. His home was so out of place amongst the office buildings that one could scarcely help fancying that it must have run there when it was a young home, playing at hide-and-seek with the other houses and forgotten the way out again. Now it is a fact there was nothing at all particular about the door knocker, except that it was very large. It was also a fact that Scrooge had about as much imagination as a potato. Now explain to me how he could have seen Keegan Marley's face in that of his knocker. Marley's face was a dismal light about it, and it was like a bad lobster in a dark cellar. It was not angry or ferocious, but it looked at Scrooge as Marley used to look, with a strange duck face. As Scrooge looked at it, it became a knocker again. Scrooge was startled, but nonetheless he unlocked his door, walked in, and turned on the lights. Rooms that still held the remnants of Marley. There were pool noodles strewn all over the place, an old piano, a violin, and a dusty Nintendo Wii long forgotten. He looked around cautiously, as if he expected to be bashed over the head with a pool noodle, as Marley was wont to do. Up the stairs Sam Scrooge went. He closed his bedroom door behind him and double-locked it. Thus secured, he took off his t-shirt and jeans and put on his favorite era-appropriate lace nightgown. He sat down before the cold radiator to take his mac and cheese. Suddenly, while eating his KD, the snap circuit radio that had once belonged to Keegan clicked on. At first, there was little sound, but as time went on, the radio's volume rose. It was playing One Direction, Up All Night, which Scrooge hated because his niece Megan had overplayed it. Spooked, he got up to turn it off, but as soon as he attempted to do so, as if touched by a ghostly hand, it switched off all on its own. One Direction was now replaced by clanking change from deep down below. Sam heard the cellar door fly open with a resounding boom. Then he heard the clanking noise come up the stairs and then right outside the door.
It's somebody!
Cried Scrooge.
It's Darth Nuggety!
But as he watched in horror, Marley, the same one as he had known 7 years earlier, strolled into the room. He wore a t-shirt, jeans, and oddly a purple tutu. He was covered in chains, keys, and padlocks.
What do you want with me?
Gasped Scrooge.
Bunch of stuff. Who are you?
Demanded Sam.
Ask me who I was.
Marley replied.
Well, who were you then? In life, I was Keegan Marley. You don't believe in me.
Said the ghost.
I don't.
Said Sam.
Why do you doubt your senses? Because
Said Scrooge.
you may be some mac and cheese gone bad, or that week-old bacon I ate for breakfast. I'm pretty sure I'm hallucinating.
Marley whacked Scrooge over the head with a pool noodle.
You fool, it's me! Humbuggy.
At this, the spirit raised a frightful cry and shook his chain. Scrooge's horror increased as Marley removed his own eye and exposed the maggots behind it.
Do you believe in me now, you fool?
Screamed Keegan.
Yep. I see now. You're a zombie.
Sam nodded.
Close enough.
The spirit said as he jammed his eye back into his head.
You're fetid.
Said Scrooge, trembling.
I wear the chain I forged in life, link by link, noodle by noodle. You will wear the same if you don't change your ways.
Keegan thundered.
Hear me, my time is nearly gone. I am here tonight to warn you that you will be haunted by 3 spirits. Well, see, I have other plans. I'm watching a Family Guy marathon. Without their visits, you cannot hope to change your path.
Wailed Keegan.
Expect the first in a few minutes, when the clock strikes midnight. Expect the second at 1 a.m. sharp. And the third at midnight on Christmas.